Hello everyone, and welcome to Session 6 of Cyberpunk Red Specters, a actual play using the Cyberpunk Red system set in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. My name is ELH the Game Master, and joining me are two lovely individuals who are in very much hot water with the rest of their precinct. The one thing I want to be very clear at the top of this session, as I've already told the players, is that this is one of those quote-unquote Fallout episodes where the consequences of everything the players have done is now coming back to possibly bite them in the ass. So what I want to make clear is that there could be a very short session, could be a very long session, could be a very deadly session, but we're just going to sort of play it by ear and we'll play it out and just sort of see what happens. That said, I am eager to get started since we're starting literally 10 minutes before our usual start time, so let's just do introductions and actually roll into things. So, Annex, what do you got going on?
Hey, I'm Annex. I'll be playing Operative Fairclough. He is a Mark III Dragoon Borg, full conversion. After a tragic accident, his family being killed, he has gone into full revenge mode against the criminals of Night City, and things are about to get real ugly here. That's for sure.
Very nice, very nice. And then Azu, what do you got going on?
Hi, I'm playing Kane, a detached Gemini cyborg whose only real joy is combat, and who has recently started to wonder if it would have been a better idea to go against Fairclough than with him. But no time to change what's in the past.
All right. Fair enough. All right, let's get that intro going, and then we'll get started proper. And welcome back. So, where we resume after the harrowing escapades, I guess is a word to use, of last session, we return to MAXTAC HQ, where there's a Fairclough-shaped hole in the wall, where Fairclough Crowlaid manned his way out in an attempt to go save his uncle. Currently, the uncle in question is elsewhere within MAXTAC HQ. He is safe. He's just being attended to, and they're just getting his statements and all that. But when it comes to our PCs, when it comes to Fairclough and Kane, you two have immediately been called into a conference room where you have Drake, your superior, you have Miss Gray, and then you have somebody who I don't think we've actually had on screen, quote-unquote, just because he's been a very important NPC. Now, this very important NPC is none other than Commander Max Hammerman himself. He is the head of MAXTAC, and to use the word paladin in his regard would be an understatement. This man has seen terrible, terrible things. He's led MAXTAC to be a paragon of service. And for him to actually show his face in a meeting like this means that, well, bad things are about to come down on Kane and Fairclough. But as you two are seated at one end of the table, Miss Gray, Drake, and Hammerman at the other, Hammerman doesn't actually sit. He actually kind of lingers behind the chair, walking back and forth. And what I'm imagining Hammerman to look like is kind of your standard beat cop with a shorter hairstyle, maybe sweep slightly to the left. And his face is very grizzled, where he's kind of got like a rough beard that's somewhat between messy and kept, you know, one of those artistic kind of beards. And he also has bags under his eyes, but he also has like wrinkles and scars from his time in service. But when he finally turns and speaks to you all, he says, "So let me get this straight. You got word that there was a supposed drug raid on your uncle Fairclough, and rather than go through official channels, you decided to take it upon yourself to cause not only damage to MAXTAC HQ, but to Drake's Porsche, and to fire upon a number of NCPD who were responding to the scene. Is that correct?"
I didn't actually discharge any weaponry unless you count the grapple hand as a firearm, but
I would certainly consider it a
sir.
firearm.
Yes, sir.
And then you, Kane, I have a bill here for Delamain for not one, but 2 AVs. Do you know anything about that?
I do.
Would you care to elaborate?
Yes, I stole 2 Delamain AVs.
And both of them got totaled.
Did the second get totaled?
And there's a pause as he kind of opens his mouth and closes it a few times as if he's struggling to find the right words. When he finally does speak, it's not so much with hesitation as it's kind of with resignation, if you know what I mean. He says, well, based on the events of today and the earful I've gotten from NCPD, well, there's no easy way about it. I gotta send you both in for psych eval, and I gotta send you both in to make sure that we're not on the precipice of a cyber psychosis incident. In other words, I'm going to need your guns and your badge.
Why's it took so long?
Well, until this incident, you all were performing admirably, and kind of a shame. I was going to actually come and reward you with a raise myself, but now here I am having to yell at you.
Kane will put a big gun and her badge on the desk. Then glance over to Fairclough.
Fairclough is going to ask, so what exactly did the NCPD even find at the apartment?
Well, that's the funny thing, is that since you intervened, they stopped trying to, as you claim, plant drugs on your uncle. Instead, they've made it out that MAXTAC has lost control of their cyber psychos. And to say that the rumors of us actually harboring cyber psychos to unleash upon the masses, let's just say the media's having a field day, and that's why I'm here. You did cause quite a scene on the highway.
I was just trying to... I just wanted to protect my uncle. He's all that I have left.
Well,
I'm not psycho.
He kind of cocks his head to the side and squints his eyes at you a little bit and goes, see, that's the funny thing, is that when the chips are down and you are about to lose the last thing that you have, that's when you get the cyber psychosis incidents.
Commander.
Yes?
Have you reviewed the interrogation footage?
That's the other funny thing, is that apparently your brain dance recordings and Miss Gray's recordings don't add up.
She'll cock her head and glance over to Miss Gray.
What does that mean?
Yeah, Miss Gray grimaces, and she kind of looks at the two of you and says, I don't know if it was something on my end or something on your end. I don't know, but in going back and listening to the interrogation of Delphine Roy, there was some omissions in the official log.
In your log or in ours?
In mine, which is unfortunately meaning that I have no way to fully verify, or at least prove, that what was said happened.
Who has access to our braindance cyberware?
Well, up until this moment, I did, Drake did, as well as Hell. She had access to it too as your netrunner. But there is the possibility, and she kind of looks at Max Hammerman, there is the possibility, sir, that we have a mole of some sort that could be modifying not just their brain dances, but potentially our official logs. And Hammerman doesn't like that answer. In fact, he sighs and actually takes his seat for the first time and says, well, whatever the hell's going on, we need to get to the bottom of it. And the first steps to that is figuring out why I've got Jeffrey Falter riding my ass, why I have the NCPD trying to take down MAXTAC in the media, why Delamain is calling for the incarceration of a, what is the word they used, a grand larceny, grand theft auto. All of that means the very first step is to bring you two in, make sure everything is okay, and that, again, we're not going to have a cyber psychosis incident. Because I don't think I need to remind you what happened with, V and a certain heavily armed Arasaka Borg.
I'm jealous.
Jealous how?
Seems a way to go.
Yes, you do seem to like your combat in that regard, don't you, Kane?
She gives a little shrug. I've never tried to hide it.
True, but until this time, you had actually restrained yourself, or at least, as far as I've read in the reports, you never deliberately fired upon someone who didn't deserve it.
I still haven't, to my knowledge.
Well, at this point, you two have turned in. Actually, he looks at the table and looks at Fairclough. Fairclough, I'm not seeing your badge on the table.
Fairclough is going to reach up and with a kind of a flicking sound, he'll pull out one of those chips. It's going to be and put his chip on the table. Digital badge.
Kane's gonna give Fairclough a little grin. You're supposed to turn in your guns, too.
Fairclough's mono eye will kind of like glance over in her direction and do the little red light up thing where it kind of like intensifies for a second, and then look back. And this is actually a good question, Game Master. Are these on quick change mounts?
I think your assault rifle is, but your grenade launcher is definitely integrated.
I mean, you could probably take it off. He does have a tool hand. He could probably actually take it off himself.
If you want to spend the time to do it, sure.
All right, yeah. Fairclough's will reach up. He'll kind of like, and with his tool hand, he'll disengage the bolts and everything, fastening the assault rifle to his arm. It's gonna kind of like half of his arm is now looks like it's like a part of him is like missing now that the assault rifle is gone off of his one arm. He'll put that on the table, and it's gonna take up probably like this much of the table space in front of him, and then his arms are gonna reach up around behind him and doing the double jointed thing where his limbs kind of like spin around. And with the tech hand, he'll kind of like sit there for a few moments, disengage a few things, and then he's going to lift it off. And there's like a whole belt of grenades and shit hanging from it. And he's gonna set it down on the table. And now like this whole section of the table that he's at is just an armory. There's just these weapons. And then he also reaches back in and pulls out more grenades and sets them onto the table.
And
Kane
I think
uses this like 5-minute interval to just slowly sip on her coffee.
Is everyone just watching him do this?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where Drake raises an eyebrow, Hammerman raises an eyebrow at Drake, and Hammerman says, "That is quite the number of grenades he has there, Drake. What do you have to say to that?" Well, sir, to be frank, he always used them for the forces of good up until this moment, so I didn't see an issue letting him have that many. We're going to have a talk after this, Drake. But anything else, Fairclough? You got like a bat or a sword or anything else you want to put on the table before it breaks in half?
Maybe his feet. He did a number on one of my mother's.
Well, I wouldn't
Fairclough's
take away
gonna be
his
annoyed.
bowling souls. I mean, if I take away a man's bowling souls, what kind of monster would I be?
Did he curb stomp her mother in bowling souls? Did he ever take those off? Oh my god.
No, fuck.
Oh my god.
They're probably damaged now, but anyways, Fairclough's gonna shake his head and then maybe like point up to his kind of like, cause he has a peaked like faceplate that's almost like an axe, so he's gonna kind of point to that and he's like, unless you want me to take my head off or something.
No, I don't think we need to be that drastic. Well, unless you're hiding anything else, I want you two to report to the room next door with Hal and Tubes, and they'll start going over your persona data and making sure that, again, we don't have a cyberpsychosis incident on our hand. But as of this moment, you all are on official paid leave, and I don't want you making any more holes in my office building. Is that clear?
Crystal.
Yes, sir.
Very good. And then he sort of just motions at the door as if to say, "Get out."
Kane will stand up and then glance over. Commander,
Yes.
do you actually think that the NCPD is trying to oust us?
Well, they've always had it out for MAXTAC ever since we separated from them. It's one of those things where they are very much, what's the correct word to use here? They have a sore spot that we've been so successful and that we're held in such high regard. Whereas the NCPD is, well, you didn't hear this from me, but trash, second rate.
So give him a nod and then look to Fairclough and then head out the room.
All right, yeah, and Fairclaw will follow too, ducking under and through the door frame.
When Helen said adjacent room, did you mean these bathrooms, or did you mean like the room down here with tubes and
Report
Yeah,
to the
down with
bathroom
tubes and
immediately.
hell.
Yeah.
It's literally the door. It's literally the room right across the hallway from the conference room.
Yeah. While they're in this hallway and she's with Fairclough, she's gonna look to him. Fairclough, I know this isn't really our area of expertise, but do you know what sort of talents would lend themselves to rapid brain dance editing?
Brain dance setting, I mean, no, not really. Probably, you don't really even have to be a net runner to do that. Just familiar with the whatever software and however it works, I believe.
Doesn't really narrow it down, does it?
No, it's something you have to specifically learn. I am a bit familiar because with the body and all, I can't really live a normal life without brain dances.
You don't just have a brain dance recorder, do you? I believe you had an audio recorder as well.
Yeah.
Do they all match up?
Well, I've got the booms, but I assumed they would have checked that.
Just be careful. I'm convinced there's someone on the inside who's helping. And I would not be surprised if our next little brain dance or our little psychotherapy session doesn't end well for us. Just something to keep in mind. And she'll push open the room to the door down here.
Oh no, Fairclaw's getting paranoid from this.
So when you enter into the tech room, at the moment there's just the one table, which is metal and solid enough to support even Fairclaw's weight. Inside is Tubes, the technician, and Hell, the netrunner. And both of them are kind of looking at clipboards or agents, and they look up as you come in and says, we'll say Hell speaks first and says, I guess the Hammerman's done yelling at you, huh? Well, let's get this over with, I guess. Which one of you wants to go first?
Well, there's actually a surprising lack of yelling, but I mean, you don't think that even the Hammerman would be afraid of me, right?
I won't comment on that. And she looks at Tubes.
Quick question, ELH.
Yes.
We've done. I mean, I know Kane was in for some really intensive psychotherapy after she was captured.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, it sounds fair to reason that full body cyborgs would get kind of like regular. Is that the case? Do we get regular like therapy sessions?
As warranted, yeah. It's not like a every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks things, but it is regular enough, at least compared to the normal citizenry.
Okay. Does this seem like a pretty standard? Like, would it normally be Hell and Tubes managing this, or would it be someone else?
I would say that it's usually just Hell running it, but the fact that Tubes is here as well is a bit of an outlier, I will say.
Okay.
It's an evaluation, isn't it, rather than an actual?
Yeah, it's not a full brain dance therapy session. It's just an eval, at least to start. Now, of
This is a
course,
window,
if
right?
Hell or Tubes decides that you need more, they're going to give you more, but to start, it's just an eval.
Okay. Well, Kane will shrug, then approach and sit down in the comfy chair.
All right. So, Kane, I need you to go ahead and roll me a resist drugs and tortures, please, because as much as I can find a relevant thing that would mechanicalize being your brain being probed, the best thing I can think of is resist torture and drugs here.
Sounds good. So, it looks like
And you do have a +2 from chat if you so wish it.
I'll use that +2 from chat. Thank you, chat.
All right.
So let me throw up plus. Scale value mods. Should be far. Oof.
Ooh,
That's
is that including the
no.
+2 or no?
That is including the +2.
Okay, so that is a 12. All right, so it's going to be one of those things where once you sit down and Tubes connects a series of wires to the back of your head, very Ghost in the Shell-like, but it's one of those things where your vision starts to tunnel and you start to hear a very high-pitched whine. And for all intents and purposes, Kane, for the moment, you cannot control your body. It is as if you are locked in and you are otherwise stuck paralyzed on the table. Okay. Very harrowing experience, a very uncomfortable experience.
Yeah.
As for Faircloud, though, what you're noticing is that this is not like what usually happens during a evaluation. Usually it's just they plug in a few wires, they're free to move about, they're free to talk. This one, even you not really knowing what's going on in the technical side of things, you can sense something is wrong here.
This is like, I think Faircloud understands what's going on here. This isn't an evaluation to determine whether or not we're cyber psycho. They've already decided that we are, and that's why they're doing this. This is just kind of like ease us in, just to ease us into this situation. Like, oh no, yeah, we're just checking, we're just making sure that you're not crazy. Oh, they definitely think that we're crazy. Oh fuck. All right. So even Faircloud knows this.
Yeah, it's very obvious. I would say that Kane, you could mess with a facial expression if you so wished, at least before it gets frozen. But one way or another, whether Kane's facial expression or just the sheer look of not terror but discomfort that Hell has on her face, something's up.
I think before the paralysis goes in, she's gonna try to just lock eyes on Faircloud.
Okay.
Just look at him when she gets kind of froze.
Is there any kind of, is it just an eye look, or does she look, is this any kind of particular expression? Like, does she show a sign of fear even?
She's not very expressive even on the best of days, but I'd say something akin to fear, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, because of that, Faircloud noticing this look that he's never seen her make before, and their time working together is going to just completely, that's what tips him off, and like he is fully convinced now that something is really wrong here. Faircloud is going to from his position, he's going to say, hey, I thought this was supposed to be just a typical evaluation.
And
what's all this extra stuff here?
Tube steps toward you, and he holds up a hand and says, "Calm down, Faircloud. This is we're doing things by the book. Nothing to be concerned about. We just have to go through to the deep level of your psychosis and make sure that everything's fine." And
psychosis. This is an evaluation. You haven't determined whether we're psycho or not.
So, Faircloud, I'm going to leave it up to you whether you notice this, but you would maybe notice that Hell is circling around the table that Kane is, coming up behind Tubes, and Hell pulls out basically the equivalent of a stun gun and goes to hit the back of Tube's head. And there's a sharp spark, there's that zzz sound, and Tube drops unconscious to the floor next to the table. And Hell immediately goes over to Kane, rips out the wires. Kane, it's like being yanked back from the brink, and you are in full control of yourselves again, as you now realize that Tubes is on the ground unconscious.
What the hell
was Kane aware of that whole thing, by the way?
You were aware, it just was like through a very long lens, as it were.
Okay. Okay, I assume we don't have much time to talk, do we?
No, we maybe have about 5 minutes before Hammerman and Lord knows what else comes through that door, says Hell. And she starts moving Tubes off to the side, and she says, look, you know, I was going to tell Hammerman this, but he wasn't hearing it from me. We had a netrunner come by from the NCPD, and let's just say I think they did more than just take logs. I think they might have messed with our recording, but I don't have any proof. I don't have any hard proof, and without that hard proof, I can't clear you guys. But
where would they have taken it?
Well,
probably gone.
They're probably back at NCPD HQ at this point, but at this point, I'm mostly doing you all a favor. As Fairclough correctly figured out, we were supposed to decommission you on the spot. But I'm going to do you guys a favor because you saved Casanova, and I owe that old bastard a favor or two. So I'm going to let you guys get a 4-minute head start before they come after you.
Do we have kill switches, Al?
I've already disabled them.
Thank you. Fairclough, we need to go. Somewhere we can go somewhere and then we can think.
Let's get out of here.
Yep.
I would recommend not taking the stairs.
Yes. Is this a window here at ELH?
It is, yeah. It's not a like Fairclough size window, but it is a window nonetheless.
Okay.
It could be. It could be.
It could be, yeah.
She's actually gonna look at Hell, and then flex her fist a little bit. I assume this will look better if you are knocked out.
I was gonna just proclaim that I was knocked out, but if you actually want to do the deed, I wouldn't say no.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you.
You know what? That's the nicest thing you've said to me the entire time I've known you.
Thank you, Al.
Probably
She'll give her a little
reassuring,
smile, and then
she never tell me that, and I'm her partner. What the hell?
Give her a bonk.
So Hell goes out nighty-night, but yeah, you have about 4 minutes before the fan is hit.
Okay.
Oh fuck. Okay, yeah, we gotta get out. We gotta get out of here.
So this isn't a Fairclough-sized window.
Correct.
Is the
Could
window
be.
in Drake's office a Fairclough-sized window?
Yes, it is.
But he's not
Okay.
gonna fit through. We can't open it. If we open it, we're destroying it.
It might be less noisy is the thing, if we just take it out of the pane. Alright, think.
Well, Fairclough does have the tool hand. He might be able to cut it out.
Would you like to try?
But if we step out into the halls here, the cameras and stuff will see us leaving, and if there's someone in the hall, we're screwed.
True. She's gonna do, which one of them would be more efficient at pulling the window out here?
I would
Fairclough has
think you guys are probably equal in that regard, because again, full Borg, but if we really want to, who's the best, it's really whichever one of you has the best body. And if you're
he's
equal,
got the tool
then...
hand, yeah. So I think probably to him. So Kane's gonna try to actually barricade this room. Buy them a little bit of time with any server racks or anything nearby.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cut this window out.
Yep. Hopefully making less noise than you jumping out of it would, or else there's not much point.
Okay, right. Yeah, Fairclough will use his tool hand to try and just cut however much he can out and make it a lot quieter than just slamming himself through it as his usual fashion is.
I gotcha. So I think this is a perfect basic tech in this regard, but if you also have electronic security tech, I'd let you roll that, and it would be a less DV than if it was just basic tech.
Now that we think about it, unless she disabled the alarms, everything in this fucking station probably has an electronic alarm on it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there... So I take it you can't just open the window, like conventionally?
No.
No, it is one of those things where you have to like disengage a lock, you have to push a few buttons, because this is meant to be a room that contains full Borg, if that makes any sense. So it's a little bit more than you just undo a latch and push it open or push it up kind of a thing.
I imagine it's even got a blast door if they didn't put that down.
Interestingly,
Like a
no
shutter
blast
door.
door in this room.
Quick
Okay,
question.
well, we'll go for... Okay.
If we check out in this hallway, are there a lot of windows or people in there?
There's not a whole lot of either, based on what we're using as a map here, and let me actually show it for stream purposes. Kind of what we're looking at here is you have a long hallway that runs the length of the building. To the left, you of course have Drake's offices and some more windows and benches for people to sit on near the restrooms. But to the right, towards Miss Gray's office and the server racks and the staircase, there's just really the one window in the hallway. Now, at the moment, there's no one in the hallway, and you would be able to see into the conference room across the way, where Hammerman, Drake, and Gray are still having a conversation. But there's nobody really looking at you. But since you did bring it up, there are several cameras which are located at convenient spots throughout the hallway to just sort of capture what goes on in the station.
Okay. Does Drake? I know there's a little tiny little laptop here in the actual map itself, but
Yes.
when they visited Drake in her room, does she actually have like a personal device there? Usually, is it built into the desk or anything?
I would say that it is one of those like built-in things that like swivels on a a rotating disc of some sort, kind of a thing.
Okay.
I mean, regardless of how we get out of here, as soon as we step foot outside the station, they're probably gonna notice us.
You're probably right.
3 minutes before you're noticed.
Is there a fire alarm anywhere?
Yeah, in fact, there's a fire alarm right to the left of the door of the room you're in.
Well, if we're going to cause a mess either way, Faircloud, and she'll gesture towards the fire alarm. Shall we improvise?
While we did promise not to cause any shit for Hammerhand, they did try to kill us.
I don't think we work for MAXTAC anymore, Faircloud. Not at this moment. And then
Alright.
she'll give him a nod, and then she's gonna pull the fire alarm.
All right.
Alright, and Faircloud is going to step back. And if Kane wants to, he's gonna say, "You wanna hop on back, I guess."
Sure, why not? She's gonna yank it and jump aboard.
Alright, she's holding piggyback ride. Let's go.
Love it. All right, so right as you pull the fire alarm, the siren begins sounding throughout the building, lights begin flashing, the sprinklers automatically go off, so just spraying dirty black water everywhere because nobody ever cleans the damn things. It's very much a dirty affair because, again, in real life, nobody ever cleans the sprinkler system, so it's just absolutely just turgid water, I think is the right word to use. It's not great. But
right.
it's one of those things where as you begin to just have this decrepit water poured over you, you take a few steps back for a cloud. Kane, you hop on, and then you Kool-Aid Man out through the way out onto the into the street beyond. Now, one thing I will say is that Annex, I need Faircloud to roll just your unspent luck here. So whatever your current luck, actually I guess they would have reset.
Did it
so you're
refill?
back at full luck. So
Right.
I need you to roll me a d10 under your luck.
Okay, so just roll my luck then.
Yeah, roll your luck, and let's see what happens. Okay, so
A
that's actually
3!
good. Lower number is good here.
Really?
It
Oh,
is,
okay.
because you miss the Hammerman's Porsche.
Oh, thank goodness.
Damn!
You know,
But I am going to say
We
you
don't have- we
land
don't
on
have time.
you land on Drake's Porsche again. In fact, it's just more squish now.
how did she get another one so quickly?
It's the
Oh no, it's the
Same
same
one.
one. It's the same one. They haven't towed it away yet. It's
Oh!
the exact same one.
Oh, fuck yeah, okay. The wheel flies off of it and rolls up and slams against the station as shit, where are we going?
Pacifica.
Pacifica. Okay. And yeah, Faircloud's gonna start running towards Pacifica.
Okay. So, looking at the
what's-
good old... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Where Pacifica, is that a combat zone?
No, it's at the very south of Night City. And the good news is, well, I guess technically it is a combat zone if you consider how lawless Pacifica is. But it's definitely not, say, like some parts of Santo Domingo or some parts of Westbrook.
Fuck. I'm just thinking, how are we gonna get there? We've traded in our badges, so we can't commandeer a Delamain. Not that Faircloud could fit on one, anyways.
I guess the
And look
good
how
question...
far away it is.
Yeah, that's a good question. I said that in the assumption that Pacifica was like the most lawless district.
It is,
in Night
yeah.
City.
Pacifica
Is
is one
it?
of those
Okay.
places where NCPD usually doesn't even respond to calls.
Okay. That's where that whole incident with the fake moms happened, right?
It actually happened to the southwest of that part, out towards the outskirts of the city.
Okay.
If you were to look at the map, it is kind of down here and in that direction. So to the southwest of Pacifica is where the biotechnical greenhouses are.
Gotcha.
But that's where the rockets and stuff were fired from, was buildings in Pacifica, wasn't it?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how exactly are we going to avoid detection? How exactly are we going to avoid AVs bearing down on our asses before
you
we even
swim?
get there? Less swim, more like sink.
Take what we can get. Can you breathe underwater?
Good question. Game Master, can Faircloud breathe underwater, or does he have an air reserve unit?
I would say you have an air reserve unit, and we're going to say you have maybe, let's say, 30 minutes of air.
Okay, and can you? He's gonna ask Kane.
I don't think, looking at her cyber list, I don't think she has. She has nasal filters, but that's for toxins and stuff.
Correct, yeah. So Kane doesn't, but if we want to just say, if you want to spend a luck, I can give you the same 30-minute reserve.
I can't breathe, but I have much less trouble blending in than you do. So I could try to swim, or I could try to make it on foot. Either way, I suggest you head for the waterfront.
Oh man. Oh man. Fuck. I'm Faircloud's not so sure about this plan. Even with his cybernetic senses and stuff like that, walking on the bottom of the ocean would get confusing. I would just get lost. Fuck, is there like a sewers?
There are sewers nearby.
Are there sewers? Are they big enough for Faircloud, or are these like fantasy sewers that have lots of room?
I would say, based on the fact we never actually see them in 2070, well, I guess we see them a few times in 2077. They would fit Faircloud. It would just be very tight space, as it were.
Sewers could work.
All right, where's the nearest manhole?
Well, that's the funny thing. It's under Drake's Porsche. What remains of it, anyway.
Okay, Faircloud's going to put his hands up underneath the Porsche and just flip it upright up and over onto the sidewalk.
There's a sickening crunch that mixes with the alarm going off in the building, the MAXTAC HQ building. And
Are they looking out the window?
Yeah, as you flip the remains of Drake's Porsche over, the alarm system tries to sound again, but it's like one of those pathetic, like half-broken, like noises. But there is a sewer access big old manhole which you could rip off and jump it down into.
Well, given that this hole isn't going to be big enough for Faircloud to begin with, Faircloud is just going to bring down his whole weight and elbow drop and just slam on top of the manhole and hopefully cave in just the concrete around it to make enough room for him.
I think that's worthy of a roll here. Why don't you give me a athletics here? Well, I was going to say we want something more body. Let me think. Go ahead and give me a body and add a +8 to it in this regard.
Okay. Odds 8.
Roll for mass.
Oh boy.
33.
That is a significant number. Oh, good. It
Big
actually
boy.
already. So it actually adds your body plus what you rolled. So, Actually, I'm trying to figure out how it got to a 33.
16 plus 8 plus 9.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Okay, I see where it's coming from now. Okay. But yeah, with a 33, you easily crater the manhole cover, and you smash down in not a full story, but like half a story down into the sewers themselves. They are very much made of concrete, which is not that great in terms of smell, but you're full cyborg, so you're not really bothered by that. But there are passageways that lead pretty much in any direction you want to go that sort of follow the streets, and also ones that go in sort of the maze-like, what's the word I want? The maze-like auxiliary passages that don't follow the streets.
Can he fit in both of them?
I would say that I would need a contortionist to fit through the auxiliary, but as long as you're following a road, you can squeeze through no problem.
Okay. We have, we likely have, we do have internal agents, so, but I doubt Google Maps or whatever the hell we're using here works in sewers. We do probably have a compass, though, is that correct?
You do.
Okay. So, I guess for now, let's start sticking to the main routes and start heading south.
Yep, that's the plan.
At a brisk pace.
All right.
Faircow will be going as fast as he can.
To represent you all making tracks best you can, I think now is when I'm going to require an athletics from both of you, please.
I was thinking maybe some kind of navigation to find our way through it.
You know what? That's a fair point. If you want to roll local expert before you make your athletics roll, if you succeed on your local expert, I will give you a bonus on your athletics.
No.
And if you want to take that roll back and roll the local expert, Kane. Okay, so Kane got an 11. Fairclough, are you going to roll local expert as well? Or there he is, 13. So I would say you guys probably get a +2 on your rolls. So if we're taking that athletics from Kane, that's a 20. And then for Fairclough, that's a 22. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for the pursuit forces. And we're just going to sort of see what happens. Not enough. So you all are able to make it, if you're heading south, you're able to make it across Corpo Plaza. Because again, MAXTAC HQ is within the city center and is just a few hop, skipped, and a jumps away from the Corpo Plaza. So you guys get to probably this down portion between where Haywood begins and city center ends, that portion of Corpo Plaza. You're underneath one of the main highways now, and the space has opened up considerably. And you don't hear a pursuit force, but since you do have internal agents, you would notice that a lot of your connectivity has been turned off. You no longer have access to the MAXTAC comms channels. You no longer have access to any of the NCPD feeds, but you still have communications between one and each other. You just can't tap in and figure out what's coming for you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was probably all on the digital badges that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Just to remind me, there was that. Let's see. Trying to think of any particular landmarks in Pacifica. There was that big gym? No, mall?
There is the mall. The mall is very much a big feature of Pacifica.
It's an abandoned mall, right?
Correct.
Okay. So she's gonna just contact Fairclough as they're running. If we get separated, I say we regroup at the mall in Pacifica.
All right.
So give a nod.
If that happens.
If that happens, best to stick together for now, but if we're driven apart, reunite there. And don't get too cocky. You've lost most of your firepower.
Ha! Never even had to hardly use it.
Well, let's hope it stays that way.
I was going to say, it's funny you say that, because as you guys round a corner getting into Haywood, you would hear and see a manhole cover being popped open, and a number of NCPD are going to drop down into it. And they are all wielding the EMP weaponry that they're very fond of when it's coming against a full board. At the moment, they're about, we'll say, 30 feet away from you. And we are going to enter into a little bit of a combat here. I don't think we need to say roll initiative quite yet, because there's just 2 of them and 2 of you. But I will say that you have at least an action before they get to go.
They're 30 feet?
30 feet. Mm-hmm.
That's within reachable range.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just to check, feet
Yes.
is. I think this game uses meters, right?
It might be meters. I always mix it up whether it's feet or meters.
Okay.
But
Yeah. So we have 10 meters of move.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's 30 feet.
Yeah, that's more than
Yeah, that's 32 feet. Okay, perfect.
All right, you want to go first?
Just to check, are there?
I've got kind of an idea.
Yeah, are there other routes? Like so if we're heading down this sewer passage, I guess, are there breakaway points?
There are multiple breakaway points that lead down other streets, other highways. Also, again, there is the auxiliary passageways, but remember, you could get lost in there very easily.
Right.
All right, I think I know what Faircloud's gonna do. If I can be. All right, Faircloud is going to run forward. I got 15 moves, so I think that's enough.
More than
And
enough.
with that, he's going to. These guys probably weren't expecting us to be on top of them so quickly. Faircloud is going to grab both of them up by the legs and just kind of like slam their bodies into each other like that with each arm.
Okay. So I like where your head's at. We're just going to do a roll to confirm. Go ahead and give me a brawling here. Yeah, it's brawling. I think it's brawling.
Martial arts count? Oh yeah, I could do brawling too. I think martial arts makes sense here because this is an advanced maneuver.
You know what? I'll give you martial arts. That would work too.
28.
28. Yeah. Not even going to roll for them to evade because with a crit like that, there's no way they're going to get a 28. So, yeah, you grab both of their legs, you rip the floor out from underneath of them, slam them together into the air, and then I do need you to roll me some damage here because you are knocking them out. At least let me make clear. You are knocking them out, not killing them, correct?
Yeah, he was just slamming them into each other. If he wanted to kill them, all he'd have to do is just grab them by the neck or whatever, and it'd be over.
Right. All right, so let me try to remember brawling damage. Let me think. You have a body of what, 16? 14?
Yes, 16 body.
So your body damage, I think it's a 4d6 if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think it'd be 5 because he's beyond 14 points.
Aha, I found the chart. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. It does say, though, 11 or higher is 4d6. So let's stick with that, because if we start going to 5d6, I think the math starts breaking. But really, this is just to make sure you don't accidentally kill them, because... Okay.
18.
All right. So you knock them out in a flashy fashion. You put them down, and you realize that unless they receive urgent medical attention, that you might have gone a little bit too far in your zeal.
Fuck. I mean, they just dropped down. Faircloud is going to. Oh man, there's probably more up above that are gonna start shooting at us. Faircloud's gonna immediately look up the manhole that they just came down.
Five NCPD look down back at you.
Faircloud, these guys we just knocked out, do they have radios on them?
They do.
Okay, that might be cooler if Kane grabs one or something like that, or a rifle or whatever. Yeah, she because she's probably a bit more clever. Yeah, Faircloud is just going to look up to them, and he's just gonna grab the rifle that's next to him, one of the rifles that they dropped, and he's gonna throw it at full force up at them. So let's go ahead and make a little athletics here. 24. That'll probably spook him.
Yeah, you definitely spook them. They leap back from the hole. They don't begin firing down. You've bought yourself some time.
All right, and Fairclow's gonna start running. And Kane, your thing.
Yep. So Kane just gonna sprint by, and they each had those EMP weapons on them, didn't they?
They did.
She'll grab one of those just as she's running by, and that'll be what she's doing.
Okay. All right. Well, at this point...
and if they have external radios, she'll try to grab one of those.
They do, yes. They do have an external radio. It's one of those things where it's on their vest, like you have to like unclip it from their vest and dig it out of their pocket, but you can grab one easily enough.
Okay, cool.
You just rip it off them. She's a Borg. Takes half the vest with her.
And if you are looking for the specific gun, it is the Nova Model 757 City Hunter, which I think should be in the compendium in Forge here if you want to drag it onto your sheet.
All right. What was it called? Sorry, Nova?
Nova Model 757
yes.
City Hunter.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
And if it's not, I can always do it manually if need be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at this point, I need to know, are you guys still following the main roads, the main passageways, or are you guys going to splinter off into the auxiliaries?
So Kane's just gonna put in a call for request for medical attention. She's gonna use her voice box to make her voice sound kind of just anonymous.
Okay.
She's gonna report to KO'd, but she's not gonna do any more for them.
Okay.
She's gonna look at Fairclough. If we're going to split up, now's the time.
All right. They'll probably predict that we keep taking the obvious route. We'll see you there.
See you there. And then, yeah, she'll split into one of the auxiliary tunnels. She's also going to keep an ear on the radio and try to keep on top of their communications where they're trying to head them off and stuff, and then circumvent those. She'll also keep Fairclough informed via her internal agent.
Okay.
All right. Fairclough will split off in his own direction as well.
Okay. So we're going to start with Kane, since you do have that radio and you are listening in. Go ahead and roll me a tactics here to see if you clue in to what the NCPD are trying to do.
Boy, I paid attention in tactics class, guys.
If Fairclough's got tactics, he could do it.
So I tell you what, if you want to feed, like literally give Fairclough a live feed of what they're saying on the radio, I'll let Fairclough row tactics instead, because a 14 wouldn't be enough.
Okay, yeah, she'll patch him in.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any chat luck or anything like that?
Not at the moment, but they could roll in within the next 30 or so seconds. You never know.
All right, it's fine. You probably don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. That's a 22.
Of course, I don't need it.
You're good.
How does he do it?
How does he do it?
So it's one of those things, and again, I'm abstracting this for just the sake of clarity, but you get the sense that they're setting up a dragnet in that if you were to head towards Santo Domingo, or if you were trying to head back up into Vista del Rey, they basically have a dragnet. In fact, let me just draw it on the map here, which I'll switch for chat here in a moment. Let me see, freehand. There we go. So basically, you guys are headed in this direction, and let me pick a different color here. So give me a different color than white. Let's just use reds. So their dragnet is kind of like this. It's kind of a horseshoe shape, trying to either corral you towards Pacifica or to prevent you from going back into the city proper.
Mm-hmm.
Let me actually switch it over so chat can see what we're looking with here. But yeah, with that tactics, I am going to give you both a +2 on your next rolls to roll either another athletics, if you want to give me another local expert. I will basically accept any justification for a skill if you can apply it to your escape, but just know that certain things are going to have different DVs. So let's start with Fairclough. What test or what skill would you like to sell me?
Oof. Okay. I'm thinking that Fairclough, these tunnels, he's not too awfully familiar about them. He's got the internal stuff, so he knows. He's just kind of using what tools he has available and just trying to move towards the general direction of Pacifica.
Mm-hmm.
So aside from that, I don't think that there's a whole lot of other rolls that I could make here. So I'm thinking just just going for athletics and maybe even endurance, perhaps. No, that's a will thing. He doesn't need to do that.
I mean, I could give you endurance. You just have to justify it.
I'm just gonna go for athletics. Here we go.
Is that including the +2?
No.
Okay, so 26. All right, so I'm going to say, for sake of argument, that you are making more towards Wellsprings out of the Glen, so you're heading to the west more than you are going south. But you're doing so in a way, based on your tactics roll, that you're not going to run into any other surprise NCPD on your way. So if I had to, again, draw on the map here real quick. Let me switch colors. I'm going to make you guys in green. All right, so you're like right here now, Fairclough, and then Kane, what would you like to justify for your role?
Judging from the radio signals, are we being precisely tracked, or are they just going off kind of their rough idea of where we are?
Rough idea of where they are.
Okay. I think what Kane's going to try to do is find a really unassuming an exit point in the sewers. She's going to get rid of like her outer layer of clothes, change her skin color and hair color, and she's going to try to fake it till she makes it.
Blend in, I like it. You know what? There's a few ways we can handle this. We could use personal grooming, because that never comes up. This could be a streetwise. This could be a wardrobe and style, but everything would be coming off of your cool here.
I think what you'd want to do is you'd need to either hit up a laundromat or find someone's clothes or whatever.
Yeah,
or you got to steal them off someone's back.
Would I be able to swing an acting?
I could give you acting. Acting would work here.
Sure. Let's try an acting.
All right. So again, I'll give you the +2. Unless does that include the +2 from the tactics?
That does not include the +2.
Okay, so that's a 22. So yeah, you do just that. You hop up. You change your skin and hair color. You get rid of most of your identifying marks, and we'll say, just because Annex had a good idea, there's a nearby laundromat when you pop up out of the sewers. You can go in, grab some clothes, completely change your look if you wanted to. But to sort of keep the tension, by the time you start to step out of the laundromat, that is when you see NCPD rushing by in their cars, and they are headed towards the west, towards where Fairclough supposedly is.
Okay. She'll get in touch with him and warn him that he's got company inbound from the east.
All right. So Fairclough, let me clean up this map a little bit so we can zoom in here and do a little bit more. So again, you're like right there in the circle. And then we have, go back to red here. You have people coming in from this direction, and you have people coming in from this direction.
Okay. And it seems like the... okay. And Fairclough, I'm assuming he's able, since he's got internal stuff, he can kind of see where he is relative to the city using the navigation devices and the likes.
Yeah.
I think it would be safe to assume that whatever goes on here, he's not going to be able to reach these bridges here. And even if they did, he doesn't think that there'd be a way across without him coming up to the surface again. He feels like this has got to be the moment. So, Fairclough is going to he is going to find an exit point as well, and he is going to burst out of the sewers back out onto the street. This time breaking up and outwards rather than crushing downwards. So it's going to send concrete and stuff flying everywhere as this giant robot just emerges from underground. Are there any nearby boats?
I would say you are on the waterfront of Wellsprings. There are a few boats that you could commandeer. Let me actually think. There is a skill for this? I know there is. I just have to find it where it is on the character sheet. Yeah. Do you actually have a sea vehicle tech skill?
He's got a bonus from +2 from his tech hand, but he doesn't have training. But I figured he could jack into and still make an attempt.
Yeah, I'll let you still make an attempt if you want to commandeer a boat. I'll let it happen. But if you fail this roll, there's going to be funny complications.
I'm down. I'm down. I wholeheartedly expect him to shoot a rocket or something, and it's gonna knock the boat over, and he's gonna fall in the ocean. But it's fine. He can breathe. So
Poor
is that what I'm
Fairplow.
rolling? Do I roll luck to see what kind of boat I get?
Yeah, roll luck first, and we'll see what kind of boat you get.
14.
14. Let's say that you find and I'm doing rough math in my head, you find a 20-footer, which should be enough to do Fairclow's weight.
All right,
It's
just
like
enough. He
it's like one of those
steps onto it.
speedboats.
Yeah, he steps onto it, and it just kind of like sinks down, almost. It's like it's not quite going under, but it's definitely at its maximum load here.
Mhm.
And he's going to. Thankfully, they didn't take his tech hand off him. He's going to take out one of his interface cables and plug it into the slot on it. If it's a smart vehicle, and he gets a 9.
It gets a 9. So you jack in, and you are not prepared for the security system of the boat, because the boat basically tells you not only no, but hell no, and the engine block locks up. Is at this point that as you look
Okay.
over your shoulder, you see NCPD coming in. They're rushing in with cars and SUVs and more of those armored vehicles, and they're beginning to surround the harbor in which you've tried to steal a boat in. And you would notice, without any roll required, that some of them are using EMP weaponry. 1 or 2 have pulled out an RPG. It looks like they are intent on beginning to shoot at you very soon.
All right, Fairclough is going to hold up one finger, and he's going to flip them off, and then he's going to, even though he doesn't have to, he's going to hold up his other hand and cover his nose where his nose would be, and he's just going to take one big exaggerated step off the boat and into the water.
Nice. Nice. I love it. All right. Well, we're going to skip ahead just a little bit then, because you've taken a drink. So, about 2 or 3 hours later, we're going to say you guys end up in the abandoned mall of Pacifica. And it's one of those things where you're not like in the entrance, but you're in like one of the random, like, trying to think of the word for it, like one of the random clothes shops or one of the random like electronic shops that's obviously never been completed or has never really been picked up. But you finally come back together, and Kane, you look completely different than usual. Fairclough, you're dripping wet, covered in seaweed and mud and grime and other things from the seabed. But as
There's
far as the two of
actually,
you, which guy?
I was actually gonna say I wanted to add on. There's also one of those plastic. There's some plastic kind of stuck around one of his leg servos, and you can kind of hear it stressing itself as he walks in a bit late.
Nice. But yeah, for the moment, you don't think anybody's following you. When you check the NCPD radio, it doesn't seem like they've continued the chase into Pacifica. You have a moment to breathe.
All right. Yeah, she'll have lured when she made it to the mall. She would have. I'm sure it's a creepy old mall. I'm sure there's some music playing somewhere. She would have changed it to find the same song that was playing that day in the bowling alley.
Oh, there you go.
See if that lures him over and wait for him to show up dripping wet. You
All
look
right.
like shit.
Well, I'm here.
Yeah. Just to check.
what counts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have like your limbs, or did you actually straight up detach those?
Oh no, he's got his limbs. I was just saying that he's got plastic, a big piece of plastic, heavy, serious shit stuck on his leg.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if he had any built-in weapons and he was forced to actually take off any of his arms or not.
Yeah, no, his I just described how like half of his arm, his left forearm is missing.
Okay. So he just got chunks out of his limbs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, that's a mess.
I mean, I guess it might be much worse than blood.
Oh, I can think of some ways it could be worse. You're right. Let's see. Well, I suppose our first step would be finding you some weapons. Do you have any left over?
Left over, I mean, I'm not exactly built for subtlety.
No, which I'm sure you appreciated when you were trying to get out of Haywood.
I make it work.
Well, the way I see it, we have 2 options. Option 1, we leave. Night City. Go make it on our own, go our separate ways, doesn't matter. Go and live our lives. Number 2, we
What life?
storm the NCPD facility and try to find some evidence.
Storming the NCPD HQ with
Sounds fun.
I don't. What was that name that he said? There was someone. It's familiar. It was. Did Hammerhand say Jerry?
Jerry. Which names are you talking about?
The one that Hammerhand said he was bearing down on him.
Oh. Who was that, ELH?
Jeremy Falter.
Jeremy Falter.
At least I think it's Jeremy. It might be Jesse. I'm mixing up my J names.
What about him?
I mean, I used to serve under him. He used to be the one in charge of me. Even my father as well. I thought just doesn't make sense. I would have thought he'd be on my side on this.
That's very cute, Fairclough. We're in Night City. Loyalty doesn't last here. Only money does.
Well,
go ahead.
what much life do we have outside of here anyways? I mean, I don't know what you were planning on before, but...
Oh,
nothing left.
I wasn't planning to leave the city, Fairclough. I was telling you what I saw our options as being. I am 100% in on raiding the NCPD.
Yeah, of course you would be. And I'm sure even if I did decide to leave to try and spare this city of any more senseless bloodshed, that you... You're right. Fine. I'll be sticking around. If anything, just to make sure you don't end up killing more people. You'd start turning this into a bloodbath. Don't expect me to play nice.
I didn't start it. Okay. So, let's see. I have my doubts that while as fun as it would be, storming the NCPD would probably not get us what we're looking for straight away. We'd probably need a team. Have you ever visited Afterlife?
The Afterlife? No, it's not like an edge runner, a place for edge runners.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to be able to do this alone, do you? We don't have a netrunner.
I mean, you're asking me. I've been a damn cop my whole life. You think I would be caught someplace like that?
You need to know your enemy, Fairclough.
Anyways, I mean, how exactly are we supposed to get there? I mean, where is it?
If I remember correctly, this is OOC. I think it's in Little China? Is that
I believe
correct?
so, yes.
I think so. Up in the starter zone.
I know it's up in Watson. I want to say it's like Little China to like the southwest somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. Well, here's where it gets weird, Fairclough, because while I can probably make my way around Night City without causing too much fuss, you are a walking tank. Do you have a biopod? Or are you hardwired into that thing?
Game Master, does he have a biopod?
Your call.
Sure, let's say that he does. I mean, no. You know what? We'll say that he... How hard is it to change out the biopod? Is it a long, arduous process to where it wouldn't be practical for him to do it?
You couldn't do it to yourself. You would have to have somebody else do it to you, if that makes any sense.
Well, like, the important question would be is that, would it be something that could be done, like, in, like, say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, or would it be like a long process of disengaging and changing out? Because then, because the question here is, if he had a biopod, then why wouldn't he have an off-duty body?
Right.
But if it's a long process, then there probably wouldn't be much sense, or it wouldn't be practical to have him changing out all the time, because then he wouldn't be able to be responding on demand because he wouldn't be ready.
Let's say, for sake of argument, that it takes about 10 to 12 hours to get in and out of the cyborg body.
Okay. Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, I do have one, though it's not. I haven't got any spares for it, and even if I did, I don't know. I don't know who would.
Oh, Ripperdocs and Pacifica, I'm sure someone will be amenable to a little swap over. Question is, what do we put you into?
You serious? I doubt any of them's ever seen what a biopod is.
Fairclough, what options do we have? Every time you step anywhere other than Pacifica, you're going to have the entire police force of the city bearing down on you. Can we get any work done when that's happening?
I guess not. I mean, look, we can see what the options are.
If you can find a way to subtly maneuver your way around the city in that, then I will be very impressed. And I'm not going to stop you, but I don't think you're going to be able to.
Can't we just, like, I don't know, find like a moving truck or something?
I suppose we could, if you don't mind the stuffy atmosphere.
I guess this is where I ask, what should we do here? Which does everybody think is more fun? The switching out for a second-rate Borg, or because the problem is that it might just end up being Kane doing everything if Fairclow's literally stuck in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
No, he could just agent in to her like senses, because she's got full cyber optics and everything. She could probably give him live video and everything, and he could just be the voice in her head.
Chad actually has a good suggestion. For those of you that have seen Ghost in the Shell, you remember the Jameson type, that little box thing?
Oh, the box!
The what?
The Jameson type from Ghost in the Shell. It's basically like a box with like little tiny legs on it. Like, you'll have to find a picture of it. Let me see if I can even find a picture of it real quick.
I got one here. In chat.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, this is a cyborg.
It is a cyborg, yeah.
That's a cyborg?
That's a cyborg.
I mean, nobody's going to know it's you if you're in that. There's no way.
It's probably one of the few things that's on our budget right now.
How would that even... If it like this is going to be like a jury rig, if anything. That they wouldn't have put a biopod in one of those.
We can find out. We haven't consulted anyone yet. So, we don't know.
Okay, that's L. You think he can... Yeah, let's
look around. Check in with some of the local Ripperdocs and see how plausible this plan would be and how much it would cost. I don't know how much you have on you, Fairclough. Kane has 730 Eurobucks.
What I mean, it's like, are you asking if I carry cash? And he just kind of like puts his arms out and kind of like this big shrug. It's like look at me.
You have a credit account. Assuming it hasn't been emptied.
He's gonna put his hands on his hips and be like really sassy about it. He's gonna like, and you think that they haven't already frozen that?
Well, let's start finding out then. We're making a lot of assumptions right now. Let's go check an ATM. And then after that, we can go check with the Ripperdoc.
Alright. So, to streamline this a little bit, because I got to do some work off stream for this, let's just end on a finance check from Fairclough here. And at least finance, am I remembering correctly, is finance, or is it business? I think it might be business in this system. Let me see. I
think it's business and bureaucracy, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you either business or bureaucracy, and chat just to give you a +2.
Well, I got 16 on the roll.
Is that including the +2 or no?
not including the +2. We could probably use the +2 on something better, anyways.
Well, I think the session's
More
coming to
dramatic.
a close, so wink, wink.
Yeah.
If you have
Is
luck,
it, or are we taking a break?
No, we're gonna bring it to an end because I got to do some work off stream. Because again, it was a very open-ended
fair.
session.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where you guys were gonna go. So,
yeah.
uh,
So if
so
you got
an eight-
luck, use it.
yes,
Wink,
could
wink.
raise it with luck. That is an option.
Well, I mean, that feels a little bit meta, but I think. Well, what are we allowed to save the +2 till later? Because I
can
feel like
make
if
a
I
note,
got a +2
yeah.
from chat, I want to use it for something more significant than just a little business role.
I think
And
this
also,
is...
I think it's funnier if Fairco
If you're
gets a
broke
shitty
as
little
shit.
robot. Yeah, I always like to play broke characters. It's fucking funny.
It is. All right, so then what I'm going to say is that with a 16
little
and
relatable.
chat and both you two, keep in mind you are saving your +2 for next session. Just keep me honest. What I'm going to say then is as you check the accounts that you had, you're going to realize that, yeah, your official accounts are frozen, as Kane suggested. However, Annex... Fairclough has a tiny little account from his uncle that suddenly has a large amount of funds in it from his uncle.
Oh,
Now, if you
man.
want an actual
Always
number,
frugal.
let's say 2,000 euro bucks is in that account.
Oh, yeah.
That's a decent chunk. Yeah, that's pretty decent.
But yeah, as you all check the ATM and decide what you want to do with that, like I said, that's where we're going to draw it to a close. I know it was a shorter session, but I want to do you guys justice with your new plan. I want to have maps ready and all that ready to go so that if shit hits the fan at Afterlife or the NCPD HQ, we have a nice climactic fight instead of just me hastily drawing maps.
Hey. All right, cool.
Yo, if the NCPD tries to crash in on the Afterlife, that is gonna be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, it'll be
disaster
amazing.
for them.
It would be
All
amazing.
the fucking edge runners drawing their fucking military grade hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, what did you guys think?
I'll be
Again, it
happy.
was an open-ended
that's great.
session. You know, what'd you guys think?
Oh, I liked it. That was great.
It was lots of fun. I feel like I maybe could have gone a little faster other than considering so often, but that went really well. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right,
Kane's little
well,
eyes are lighting up now that she may actually get a chance to go out in the most awesome blaze of glory, raiding the NCPD headquarters.
yeah, that's the type of thing that gets stories written about you, or a drink at Afterlife, one of the two.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, Twitch stick around, but YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Bye-bye, YouTube.